In today's video, I will be surviving 100 days with my friends Havenhand and Chrisanthemum. That's right, 100 days, Trio Edition. We have multiple goals for this video: defeat the dragon, get full netherite, and defeat 3 withers at once. And be sure to stick around to see if we can do it. Before we get into the video though, these videos take a lot of time to make. Maybe not that long. But the gameplay itself is a lot. Plus, editing these videos takes a ton of time. So if you enjoy the content, please be sure to subscribe. I'm so close to 2,500 subs and I would love to hit it by the end of the month. We are so close and we totally can do it. Also, be sure to leave a like as it helps the channel massively. And of course, last but not least, Daniel and Chris spent a ton of time suffering through being with me to make this happen. So be sure to support their channels down in the description below. Also, Daniel is making a video out of this too, so if you want to see another perspective, go check his video out. Now that that's over, let's hop right in. On day 1, I found a drowned village building that had spawned on the land and got a fishing rod and some coal out of it. Next, I found a village that was really close to our spawn and took all of their livelihood. I got plenty of wheat for some starting food. Next, I went into the forest nearby and got some basic stone tools. After that, I went exploring to see if I could find anything else that was interesting. Found a pillager outpost, grabbed the loot, which included some potatoes and carrots, which would come in handy down the line for a farm. After grabbing the loot, I ran off and found an abandoned nether portal next to a jungle. I grabbed some cocoa beans, bamboo, jungle wood, and melons. Then I looted the chest. And the chest was a looting 3 sword. While it was only gold, it would still come insanely in handy down the line for hunting wither skeletons. On the way back, it began turning night, so I threw my bed down in a hole and we slept till the next day. On day 2, I returned back to find a wooden shack that Daniel built. It was an off-centered cube, so of course Chris and I proceeded to bully him about it for the rest of the series because, as we all know, Dan can't build. It's pretty obvious that Chris and I became the breadwinners of the family and Daniel got stuck at home. Decided to put some bamboo around the house as it already looked terrible, so I figured why not. After bullying Daniel a bit longer, I decided to make a basic farm to start getting some food going. While doing this, Chris added a very artistic decoration to the building. And at the end of day 2, hopped into a cave, slept, and on day 3, I started mining a bit. There isn't too much to say about day 3. I explored the new caves of the 1.7 snapshots, which are insane to go into as nothing I've ever been used to. I fought plenty of mobs, lit up the cave as much as I could, just mined as many ores as I could find, as we basically had no resources at this point. I upgraded my armor as much as I could, although of course I kept my trusty leather pants. At the end of day 3, I headed back to the surface and began running towards our house. I got back to the base and slept with the boys. On day 4, I went looking for a treasure using a map that Daniel found in a shipwreck earlier on. After boating around for a while, I found the treasure, which provided some nice iron and gold. I returned home, dropped all the loot in the main chest, and decided to go back to the cave now that I had some more food and torches. I explored deeper into the caves, fought some more mobs, and mined some more resources. Still no diamonds, although it's not a big deal as it's only day 4, and I don't really care for getting better gear. After that, I returned home to regroup with Chris and Daniel. On day 5, we all started fishing for a saddle to tame the donkey that we had near our spawn. I don't really understand why, but Daniel was so fixated on doing this. It netted us some really cool bows and a banger enchanted book that would definitely come in handy down the line. It's a pretty lax day, but it was nice to just sit back with Dan and Chris and talk for a while. Chris finally caught the saddle, tamed the donkey, and put him in the chicken pen. They didn't name him, but he seems like a clump if you ask me. Next, on day 6, Daniel and I went down into the negative Y level caves of the new snapshots and got absolutely lost. We got plenty of resources and found a good amount of diamonds to start advancing our armor. Although I wanted to stick to my trusty leather pants and iron armor, so I just let Dan and Chris level up theirs. We started packing our stuff up on day 7 with 25 diamonds, a stack of iron, and plenty of gold. We returned on day 8, where Chris had expanded the farms by making a larger area for crops and added some pens for our animals. On day 9, it was time to start building the base. Daniel and Chris set off to explore and hopefully find something cool. Like I said in the beginning, you can watch Daniel's video to see what they found. So while they did that, I decided to make a pretty cool house. I didn't really trust Daniel with it. I wanted it to be grand. But first, I had to collect a ton of resources. We already had plenty of cobblestone, but I collected some more from strip mining a bit, and then chopped down plenty of trees. After doing that, I got to work on building the base. Set down all the resources I had in a chest, and just started working. I wanted to stick to the style that I normally work with, but I also wanted to change it up a ton. I could just jump to the end and show you the final product, but how about in this video, we do a time lapse. On day 16, I finished the skeleton of the house. I didn't quite have a roof finished, as usual, but Daniel and Chris got back from exploring. They had found a woodland mansion that we would explore later. Once they returned, Daniel got some obsidian and we set up another portal and an enchantment table. On day 17, Daniel put the enchantment table down to enchant some armor before realizing enchantments don't work. That's right, we were playing this on the most recent snapshot at the time, and in this snapshot, Mojang accidentally removed enchantments. So the only way we could get them was from books or fishing them or chests. Check out this video from Phoenix SC if you also want to know a bit more about it. So we went on with unenchanted gear. This is why the looting 3 gold sword we found would be so insanely helpful. There was no other way for us to get it except from this chest. Now on day 18, we hopped into the nether and found a bastion quickly. We decided to take it on as Daniel desperately wanted Pigstep. I honestly don't really know why though, because we never even ended up making a jukebox, but I guess it was just for the trophy of having it. We found the disc, and there wasn't really much else to do in the bastion other than grab the gold and the loot throughout it. So we headed out and searched for another fortress this time. On day 20, we found the fortress and got plenty of blaze rods. And of course, we got plenty of potions materials too, as we would definitely need them for the 3 withers, and they would definitely come in handy for the Ender Dragon fight. When we got back, there was a wandering trader to welcome us home. So, as any sane person would do, I promptly murdered him. Next, Daniel wanted to set up another tunnel all the way out to the woodland mansion so we could get out there easier. So, while he did that, on day 22, I started collecting more wood, and then over the next few days, I began finishing up the roof of the house so we could finally be covered and move in our beds. Chris was supposed to help me out on this, although I can't really expect him to help me when he doesn't know what I want, so he ended up just running around in circles, and it's about it. Finally, on day 27, I finished up the roof of the house. It took forever, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Next, Daniel really wanted some horses so he could breed with the donkey to make a mule. So, on day 29, we headed out to look for horses, and after about 20 minutes of searching, we found some. Tamed them up, brought them back. Luckily, Daniel and Chris had found 2 extra saddles during their exploration, so we had enough for all of us to have our own horse. For the next few days, Dan and Chris worked on lighting up the nearby village and making it more secure. I'm gonna be honest here though, I did absolutely nothing. That's the problem with making videos with Dan and Chris for me. I have no motivation to be productive because I just end up joking around with them. When I'm in a solo world, it's not that big of a deal because I have nothing else to do other than be productive. So I'm pretty sure I was just scrolling through memes while they did this. Finally, on day 35, I started being productive again, and all 3 of us went to the warped forest biome in the nether to start hunting endermen to find the dragon. For some reason, Daniel wanted 20 pearls, although I don't exactly know why because we need maximum 12, but I got 4 and just let the rest of them do it. If you can't really tell, I'm a team player. We got home on day 36 and I found a dog in the forest, so of course I tamed him up with the bones we had laying around, and now we have Pog Dog, the return. On day 37, we began working on a storage boat. Well, Daniel began working on a storage boat. The goal of this boat was to make something different for our storage area instead of just a chest room, but it was mostly Daniel's idea, so Chris and I harassed him while he made most of it. After yelling at us enough, we finally helped him finish it. On day 40, it was complete, and Daniel had organized a bit. The reason this took so long, even though it was such a small building, is a great example of us just being idiots and not getting any work done. But on day 40, we went back down into the caves to find more diamonds, so we were all close to full diamond. At this point, I had been working around in gold armor for a while, but I had started to enjoy my bling. So, even though on day 43 we had found enough diamonds for me to have full diamond as well, I made the armor and just kept it in my inventory. Day 44, we started mining up and got insanely lucky. That's right, we dug up into the stronghold. So, we marked down the coordinates and set up another portal. Daniel dug a tunnel into the stronghold, while Chris and I started getting our gear ready to fight the dragon. This is where insane bows were going to come handy. I had a diamond axe, but I decided to play it risky and keep my golden swag armor on. Kept the diamond armor in my inventory just in case I got myself into a sticky situation, but the Ender Dragon really isn't too difficult, so I didn't stress on it. I got as many chicken feathers as I could, and Daniel and Chris focused on getting flint. Next, we needed to make potions, but we forgot the nether wart. So Chris made a quick dash back to the nether to get the nether wart, while Dan and I sat in the base talking about something stupid, I'm sure. Finally, Chris gets back, and Daniel fixes up some potions. He made speed, health, and regen, which should be plenty enough for fighting the dragon. On day 51, we got back to the stronghold, placed the Eyes of Ender, and hopped through the portal. Taking down the end crystals was pretty easy, and then it was time to start hitting the dragon. We popped some strength potions and waited for it to come to the center to start slapping it in the neck. There were two very close moments where I got launched, but fortunately, I'm a pro Minecrafter and former UHC player, and landed both the MLGs. After a long fight, we killed the dragon, took the egg, brought it back to the base. Once we got home, Chris set up a monument for the egg. He took his beautiful piece of copper artwork from the top of our old house to display the egg on top of. We had collected some endstone, and he used that to make a basic design. After that, on day 54, it was time to go back to the end and find an elytra. All three of us hopped through the gateway and split up. I go straight forward, Chris heads slightly to the right, and Daniel goes to the left. We all go different directions in hopes to find 3 elytras as fast as possible. Chris found his pretty quickly, and then on day 57, I found an end city of my own. I ran through it, got some decent gear from the chests with some enchantments. This would be the only way that we would finally be able to get some diamond armor with enchantments. So I grabbed all the loot I could, took the elytra, the dragon head, and began my long and arduous journey back to the end gateway. Daniel found his elytra as I was running back, but he was insanely lucky and found an end city right next to another end gateway, so he was just able to hop through and skip the long run back. On day 60, we all returned to our house, and it was time to watch Daniel organize everything, and not help him, of course. So, Chris and I harassed him about something stupid, I'm sure, while he put all of the loot into the storage boat. You know, for as much trash as Chris and I give him, he really does do a lot of work. He organized this video, and a lot of other videos we've done with him. He puts up with a lot of stuff from us, although I suppose it is because Chris and I are great content. Although, I do gotta give it to him. You should definitely go check out his channel, he makes some great content. On day 62, we headed into the Nether and began hunting wither skeletons. There were only 2 challenges left to complete, and both of them required a hefty amount of time in the Nether. We wanted full netherite, and we also wanted to fight 3 withers on the final day. This is where the looting 3 sword would come in handy, as we couldn't get the enchantments to get a regular looting 3 sword. Although it was just a gold sword, so it didn't have the greatest durability. I repaired it when I could, and damaged the wither skeletons with my axe first before finishing them off with the sword. Though after a little while of that, I had stopped paying attention to the durability of the sword, and I broke it by accident. So, we were left to grind wither skeleton skulls with no looting. This was a 2.5% chance, so getting 9 skulls was going to take forever. Chris helped out for a little while before we realized we needed to bed bomb for netherite pieces. So, while Dan and I continued to fight the withers, he went back to the overworld to set up a sheep farm and get plenty of the wool. On day 69, we only had 4 skulls between the 2 of us. Due to bad nether fortress placement and making bad spawns, and a lack of looting, we just really had some bad luck. So we headed back to the base to focus on something else to give our brains a break. I could not focus on that anymore. It was time to do something fun and go raid the woodland mansion that Dan and Chris found earlier. On day 70, we took the intensely long run through the Nether on Daniel's very precarious bridge over lava pools. We got into the mansion and ran through it. There were definitely some good close calls, as there was a lot of screaming and yelling. But of course, I was still using my gold armor. There wasn't too much good loot, but we did get some totems. Enough for us all to have one of our own. On the way out, Chris took out a flint and steel and started to torch the whole thing. We sat back and watched the mansion go up in flames. Except for Daniel, he didn't do that, because he was still inside. Chris just set the whole thing on fire while Daniel was still inside. Be sure to watch the video to see his great escape. On day 72, we finished watching it burn down and started heading back to the base, and ran back to the Nether Fortress to continue fighting wither skeletons. Chris didn't join us at first, but after a little while of shearing and breeding sheep more, he decided to switch it up and come join us. By day 85, we finally had a total of 9 wither skeleton skulls. I grabbed the 12 soul sand we needed to summon the withers, and now we had everything we needed, except netherite armor. I was not about to fight 3 withers in gold armor. Well, I would've if Daniel didn't yell at me. Something about, don't risk all of it now, I don't want to re-record this. I wasn't really paying attention. Now, the reason we needed to bed bomb for the ancient debris is because without enchants, we couldn't instant mine the netherrack, and we didn't have a reliable source of TNT, so using beds was the most efficient way of clearing netherrack. And honestly, it was really lucrative compared to even when I did have instant mine netherrack in other playthroughs, so I might just start doing this more often. On day 86, we took a bunch of beds into the Nether. There was plenty of wool because of Chris. Between days 88 and 96, I bed bombed in the Nether. Daniel and Chris did so as well. We each needed full netherite armor and a weapon too. So, in total, we needed 15 ingots, which worked out to be 60 debris. I actually got pretty unlucky compared to Daniel and Chris, but after many days, we finally walked out with the scrap we needed. Smelted all the debris up, crafted the ingots, and upgraded our armor. Chris and I were ready to go before Daniel slowed us down and made some potions for us. It was extremely helpful in the long run, so we figured we'd get them. It was time to take the 3 withers on. We didn't really have a place to do so, so I made the suggestion to do it in the ruins of the Woodland Mansion. Daniel and Chris were hesitant at first, but once we got there, it seemed like a very fun idea. Day 99. We had everything we needed to fight the Wither. We all placed down the soul sand and the skulls. On the count of 3, we placed down the final skull. Daniel and I spawned perfectly fine, but for some reason, Chris's didn't quite work. I assume because he placed it over some carpet, and that was the issue. But while he kept trying to place down the soul sand and the final skull, Withers just kept blowing it up, which was quite amusing to watch him not be able to get it to work. Finally, he got us to spawn in, and then it was on. At this point, I was wearing full netherite, as I really didn't want to die on day 99, and had potioned up. The fight was in full force. The Withers seemed to focus mostly on me, but they didn't really do too much damage. With strength and a netherite axe, it cut straight through them like butter. They didn't stand a chance. Yeah, I got them aggroed on me so they would stop bothering Chris.
What was the final stage?
No, he's not anymore.
I don't know which way it is. I don't know which one to shoot at. Great.
No, I splashed a regen potion! No, I splashed myself, like, I splashed it and it knocked me into the air. I didn't get it.
Okay, one's down.
One's down, one's down! I wonder, oh my god, I wonder if it, like, aggroed on, oh, I'm low. I'll be fine, though.
I'm trying to get it to aggro me, but it's not.
Oh, okay, they're both here,
This one's almost halfway down.
Oh, this one's half.
Oh, this dude's screwed.
Oh, he's almost dead, Oh, okay, last one.
This is so stupid.
This is a really good idea. Put it in the right place.
Yeah, that's what I thought, boy! Talk shit about my ideas again.
I'm afraid you're a bit ass, but I don't think I'm worth it.
Oh, it's totally worth it, though.
I don't have any more scrap. Okay, we gave
It's fine. Hey! We defeated all 3 Withers and got all 3 Nether Stars. On day 100, we returned from the Woodland Mansion, crafted up 3 beacons, and made as many blocks of iron and gold as we could. All at once, we activated all 3 beacons. They were only level 1, but it was definitely an achievement. And there it is, 100 Days Trio! Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to check out Daniel and Chris in the description, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.